Just seeing will it connect across. Yeah, something's happening.
Oh, well, we have a new live.
Okay. And I think we are live.
We're so professional.
I know. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Double D's live podcast. We were a little bit nervous because we were trialing out a new streaming platform, which means that we don't have the delay of trying to get Muireann in the beginning, and we also have better audio for the podcast. So please, God, everything goes okay. And if it doesn't, worst case scenario, what? We just have to record it again. That's okay.
Be right.
So how are you? Now, the only thing is, Mar, I don't think I can see on mine, because I'm on my desktop. I don't think I can see the comments coming in. So will you keep an eye on your phone? If there's any comments coming in, then you can.
I don't know if I can see comments coming in because I can't see. I can only see the StreamYard. I can't see Instagram.
Okay, perfect. No, that's fine. What I'll do is I will keep an eye from my phone. So that's perfect. I'll keep an eye on the comments coming in from my phone, and I'll just make sure the volume is down.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, right, let's get into it. How was your week?
My week was the usual crazy madness, rugby matches all over the crack. Well, where was I? What did I do? I was working for most of it. There was a good bit going on here in the yard at home, which is obviously grand. And then I was in Clare's one of the days, and then Saturday, Fionn had a match, and then Fionn had a match in Carlow, and then we went to Wicklow and we lost, so I got really grumpy. So I was going to go out, and then I didn't go out because I was a bit annoyed with the lads for not winning. That was fine, and I'm over it now, and it's all good. I just had a little moment there. And I did get slagging because, well, I always get slagging anyway, but I got slagging because we had put up a picture of the women's rugby team, and I was in the picture, and I wasn't in the last men's picture, so I got a little bit of slagging over that. But as I said to the lads, the women won, and they did not. So I'm just going with that.
Touché.
How was your week? What was that?
Before we go any further, what are you drinking?
I am. Oh wow! Oh, hold on now. Put up a picture of the women's rugby team. We're having a little us in the background there. I am drinking a little cheeky Blossom Hill. It's quite nice. I like it. I'm good with it.
Is that rosé?
It is. You see, I know me and wine now. Not very good at it, right?
This is going to be such a coincidence because this is also a rosé.
Right. It obviously looks like a rosé. Picked it up and went, beautiful rosé. But it says white on it. Why does it say white on it? So it says white Zinfandel, juicy and fresh.
Okay.
Yeah. But it looks like a rosé and tastes like a rosé, so I'm calling it a rosé. It's quite tasty, actually, to be fair. Which one are you drinking?
I have about 10 ice cubes in mine because it does not taste very nice.
Oh, no.
Hey, look, it's drinkable. Let's be clear, but it's just...
You have to go back to your gin.
I know. It'll be fine. I'm more than happy with... I kind of fancied like a wine. I'm not necessarily a gin tonight, but anyway. Our little Tipple Tuesday, I do love that. My week, do you know, it's so actually hard for me to remember my week. I should be writing it all down. There was one, it's just been busy, like, and kind of in general, of course it is. But there was one episode that I did remember and did write down because it was one of those things where, right, so I'm juggling, I'm trying to do a bit of work, get the girls their food. I have one girl either side of me at the kitchen table. You know, when you sit down to have food, you're up and down, up and down, up and down 15 billion thousand times. And I sat down, the girls were eating away, and I was doing a bit of work on the laptop. And after a minute or two, Paige gets up, and she doesn't eat a huge amount. Like Brie eats way more than Paige does. I probably said that before. So Brie was still munching away at the manger, and then Paige was up and kind of floating about. And after a minute or so, she was like, "Oh, Paigey poo poo," and she goes running out to the bathroom. And I was like, "Oh, good for you." And so. And I'm trying to be a little bit more hands off with her. So I'm like, right, independence, go do your business. I'll come in, help you off, and make sure everything's okay. We'll wash our hands, etc., etc. So that was grand. So I went in to do that after about a minute. And then the next thing, while I'm in there with her, I hear the plate that I had given Brie hit the deck and smash. No. Right? Because I was initially there beside her, I could prevent this from happening. But then obviously I was gone. So he was like, okay, right, there's a broken plate for me waiting when I go back in. But obviously Bree's in her high chair. She's not liable to get injured.
Yeah, she'll be okay. Yeah.
But when I walk back into the room where the broken plate was a nice little poop. Just sitting there. So Paige had started her poop on the floor and then finished it in the bathroom. And I was like, mother of God. So I had to clean up the poop.
She went to the bathroom.
I had to hoover, and you know yourself, Maura, once you take out the hoover and you start going, the whole house got it. I was like, that escalated quickly. I was like, mother of God. There was me thinking, I have my shit together. I was getting stuff done, and I had like 5 extra jobs. I was like, oh, I just had to laugh.
It's always the way, though, isn't it? Actually, before I forget, this episode is sponsored.
Yes.
Because I'm going to get the hat. You want to tell people about Beasley & Co. and I'm going to grab that.
Yes. So this episode is being sponsored by the very kind and generous Beasley & Co. Mer had a lovely opportunity to wear some of their clothing at the races recently, and they kindly have donated this hat to give away as part of the sponsorship. And we are like, oh my God, the colour, it's a lovely copper kind of a colour, is it?
Yeah, it's like a burnt orange, and it's absolutely beautiful, I have to say. And I have worn all of mine. Oh, golly, I've worn them to the races,
as long as I've known
nights out, to rugby matches. Oh, they wear extremely well. They're so comfortable. They also have, I don't know if you'll see it very well on the camera here now, but can you see this tie? Can you see this string on the inside? Yeah, so you can actually change the size of the hat to fit yourself. So it's a standard size hat, but you can tighten it or loosen it from in here. Yeah. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So we have some questions. There was some great questions came in.
We will pick one of them to answer. You probably already have it done, Mar, but we will pick one of them to answer in a little while. But yeah, very, very excited to have Beasley & Co. on board as a sponsor for this episode. And we look forward to seeing who gets the hat. I mean, seriously, like if we don't do a question, can I have the hat?
I will buy you a hat for Christmas, Sarah. You're not taking away our giveaway hat.
It's like one of those things you don't know you need it until you see it and you're like, I need it.
Well, it is very, very much like I could see you wearing this hat.
It's 100% my colour. Like when you showed it to me today, I was like, oh my God, delicious.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so back to my week. Other than that, like there really wasn't. I actually spent a lot of time on the Equitas website this weekend, which is quite exciting. So
exciting. Yeah.
I don't know if we kind of divulge a little bit more about that, but the platform that we use for our articles now and our newsletter is Goat. It's still going to remain the same, but we're building and we're building the website to basically be able to show a little bit more of our personality, who we are, what we're about, what our missions are, our campaigns that we have going on. Because unless we're talking about them through articles all the time, it's like as if they're not happening, but they are. You know what I mean? They're still running in the background. So it just gives us room to kind of be able to portray Equitas as a whole, I suppose, is probably the best way to describe it. It also means that we can have coming up, we can have them linked directly and be a little bit more vocal on there about them. So yeah, really, really looking forward to it. I have the wireframe done. starting to put in a bit of content, which is very exciting because I'm getting to kind of go back to the roots and say, like, right, who are we? What's our mission? What are we doing? You know what I mean? And then talking about how important our community is, and even the writers, what makes our writers unique, like all of that. And like being unique is that they're not actually like professional. It's just equestrian females writing about what's important to them, and that's what makes it
the other day about some of the articles, like some of the stuff that we have published. I don't know what, I was going through the articles. I was looking for one in particular. I can't remember which one at the minute, but like there is some absolutely amazing articles there. Like even some of the ones that,
like when you think back, when you actually look back at what we've published, I do often go like, oh my God, like that was incredible. That came from us. Like that was incredible. That was a newspaper. That was this. And it's just, it makes you really proud, doesn't it? So I'm really glad to be able to not, let's say, because Ghost has been great. The platform that we use at the moment has been great, but it has been restrictive. Do you know what I mean? And not necessarily for the writers. They still can write, you know, like very easily on there, and then also there's no word count limit, there's no kind of it's very free and easy for them. But for us, you know, we just found that if we wanted to put anything out there to our community, it had to be done in an article format, and it's just not always straightforward in that regard, and the consistency struggles then, doesn't it? You know, like we started getting our message out there for a while, and then we have to publish and go a different direction, and everything nearly has to go that direction. You're trying to pull it back. So having our own
but I'm nearly proud that we have gotten, not nearly proud, I am proud. Like Equitas has grown that much that we have nearly outgrown what we can do on that platform.
Absolutely.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the turns that we're making, and the sound like ChatGPT, the strides of the galloping echoes in the background. I know I spent a lot of time on ChatGPT today. I was doing stuff for the rugby club. Oh Lord. But like some of it is just,
we should actually make that as part of the segment for one of the weeks coming up. We should make a segment saying, what are the crackers that ChatGPT has come up with for us?
And you put them right off. You know they're there. Like I was doing up a match report, and one of the lads had sent me bullet points, and he was like, look, just pop it into ChatGPT and make a match report. It started talking about the rolling hills of the rugby club. Like,
it's so cute. It's so cute. But seriously though, where would we be now at this stage without AI? Like it makes life.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But even in my, like what I find really fascinating is, right, so obviously Sarah knows I completely deep dived into AI. I was like, this is my thing. I'm going to be able to figure all of this out. I can work all of this. But it's mad how quickly it has come into my everyday life. Like my first thing in the mornings, where I'm even checking my news, everything has changed now, and it's all AI. And it was literally overnight. It was crazy. The way I work my own socials, the technology, everything. It's mad. Like,
do you know I've created an AI for like my own chat, like my own ChatGPT.
Your own ChatGPT? Did you create a chatbot?
No, I didn't. I haven't got that far yet. But what I did do is created a mindset coach.
Oh yes, I love that.
Like, it's holding me accountable. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I
love that
daily kind of like check in, and it's just brilliant. Like, so talk about using it for your personal use. Do you know what I mean?
Does AI, and I know this is completely off topic, this is not what we were supposed to be talking about, lads, but does AI scare you? What is coming with AI?
100%. 100%. Because I mean, how do you spot the real from the fake? The lines are going to get so. But I think the only way to as we always say, is education. Learn about it, use it,
exactly,
understand it as best you can, and take it from there. So
was it? I think it was a video I saw on TikTok today, or maybe it came up on Snapchat, and it was a group of Americans, and they were talking about a new AI chatbot for Snapchat that it's been released in America, but hasn't been released here yet. And it's supposed to be a future predictor. And they put in who is the president of America in 2025? And it was, I'll see, can I find the video? It was absolutely fascinating. It has the results of the presidential election at the minute. It had Kamala Harris. They went to 2032, I think. And it was Kamala Harris has come in for a second election run. Like the whole thing. And these things haven't happened yet. And that terrifies me. That, like...
It's analyzing the behaviors and the statistics and taking it back. Oh, anyway, it's mind blowing. But yeah, my advice to everyone is if you're scared about it, look into it, learn about it, and it does make it a little bit easier to swallow. Yeah. The other thing that I did today, which was quite exciting, was that we had a photo shoot for MVS. So a couple of hours this morning and took photos of myself and Nicola. So it was kind of for our website, we're building in a whole new platform behind the website as it is now, kind of more like style services. Incredibly exciting. And we just wanted to get some branded images for that. So yeah, it was like, sure, you know yourself, Maurice, this is awkward as hell, but at the same time it's great crack. And I think there's going to be some cracking photos out of it, like, you know, and the photographer was lovely, an absolute pet. So yeah, it made us feel real comfortable. But like, yeah, it's never comfortable when you're doing it, but I think you're always grateful for it afterwards.
And they do, like, even like, obviously the photos are so important and you have to have them, and yeah, you need them for your entire business. But even the giggling and the crack, like, sometimes you need to knock a little bit of fun out of those kind of things and come in with a bit of different.
Like, for my wedding, like, I said to the photographer, like, I don't want, now we do have a few pose photos, but I was like, I don't want pose photos. I want everything candid. And like, I absolutely love them because you're just catching people's personalities. And that's just the way business has gone now. You need to show your personality, like, because people want to connect with the actual person behind the business and trust them.
So we got really, really lucky for our wedding. Paul's cousin worked for RT, and he was there and happened to have his camera, and he made the most stunningly beautiful video. Like, even now, we're married 12 years, I cry every time, every single solitary time. It is... None of us knew he was recording. The majority of it is on the dance floor. It's literally him just walking around the dance floor. Like, he has myself and Parks for his dance. He has Parks' mom and dad in it. He has, like, I just love it. I must try and root it out, actually. I can put it on socials at some stage. But it's just, and everybody's so natural, and they're all just laughing and chatting and having a banter, and like, there's a couple of people that have passed away since our wedding, and they're in that video, but they're in the video being them. Like, it's not staged. It's lovely. It's really, really nice now, I have to say.
I know. Before we get on to the first topic, it just Chrissy was in there a few minutes ago. She was saying the camaraderie is unmeasurable. I'm assuming she's talking about within Equitas, which is really nice to hear. Thank you, Chrissy. She's like a beacon of hope for all equestrians. Oh, I was like, a beacon of... I thought that was lovely. But yeah, thank you, Chrissy. So the first topic that we want to get on was something I think we touched on last week, but we didn't get kind of into it, and you went on social and you were talking about it as well over the weekend. Are you an equestrian if you don't ride? So, Mer, what do you think?
I'm feeling all the hurts at the minute. I have 4 horses. None of them are riding at the minute. So Theo's on his winter break. Annabelle hasn't come back in yet. Polydam is obviously fully retired, and AJ is only a baby. So I am sitting looking at my 4 horses. And now, like, I fully, and I will caveat that with, I know, first of all, I'm extremely lucky to be able to have 4 horses. Second of all, I know I'm also extremely lucky that I can go into Claire's and I can choose to ride or not ride. But it's really making me double think, and it's not even the competing side. It's actually just riding my horses, and I'm finding it a really, really strange time because I'm definitely having FOMO. I'm looking at people out competing, and I'm looking at people getting ready for winter, and they're bringing in their horses, and they're starting to, like, Christy Dillon has built one of the coolest field shelters I've seen in a long time, and I'm looking going, I'd love to, like, I just love to. But it hit me much harder than I thought it would. Like I didn't expect to kind of go, oh, am I still properly horsey if I'm not actually picking up
like
on my
to actually question it, like to go so far as to
100%.
actually question it.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, I'm different in that I was, so when I was pregnant with Paige, I rode for quite a while. And that was fine, and I got back up. I think it might have been 6 weeks after I had her. But then when I was pregnant with Brie, early days pregnancy coincided with Hallie being slightly off. So
Yeah.
I decided to put her out, which meant I wasn't comfortable riding anything else while I was pregnant. So I put her out, which meant I kind of had a forced sabbatical. And then after Brie, obviously I rode, but it just hasn't been as easy with the two of them juggling the two of the girls as well as riding. And as I said, during the summer, Emma was there taking riding away.
Yeah.
So at the moment they're all out. And I'm leaving them out while the weather is a-okay, and then they'll all come back in kind of at the one time rather than splitting resources now. But I totally feel you. Now, what I kind of think is that, so riding and spending time with the horses is obviously good for your heart, do you know what I mean? But like where I feel that I might not be, I always feel like an equestrian because I spend time with them and I ride them, and I always feel like I am an equestrian. But unless I'm out competing and probably talking to like-minded people, that's when I feel less of an equestrian. Probably purely and simply because of the isolation that comes with it.
That's very interesting.
And it's not necessarily, so I said, I probably said that wrong. I do feel like an equestrian because obviously I know my connection to my horses all the time, but I question whether I am, like, kind of to the outside world. A little bit like what people think of me. Do I really care? No. But like at the same time, that's when the doubt will creep in as to whether technically, like, am I an equestrian if I'm not out competing or I'm not out chatting to people, or, you know, you're kind of on an outside level. Are you seen as an equestrian? You know? Now I do think, like, regardless of whether you're riding or not, I just feel like if you love horses, you're an equestrian, end of.
You see, the funny thing is, right, if somebody said this to me and I'd be going, sure, of course you're still an equestrian. It doesn't make a difference if you ride, if you don't ride, if you never want to ride your horse again. If your horse is quite happily living wherever, if you're still minding your horses, of course, you're an equestrian regardless. But I think my mind, as you all know at this stage, works in very strange ways. So the only time my mind is fully quiet is when I'm on a horse. And when I'm not riding, I never have that kind of half an hour of complete clarity of the one thing I have to concentrate on. Like if I'm on my laptop, I'm on my phone. If I'm on my telly, I'm on my telly, watching my telly, I'm on my phone. I constantly have to have 3 or 4 things going on at the one time. But when I'm on a horse, I can't. Like, it has to be that focus. So I don't know if it's my own state of mind and my own mental health missing that little bit of clarity. Now, if Claire is watching this does not mean I'm riding 3-year-olds tomorrow. I am just caveat.
Claire has actually, when you mentioned Claire has come in and she's like, it's okay, there are plenty for you to ride tomorrow. She didn't specify if they were the young ones.
Not riding 3-year-olds there. I'm putting it out there. I can't even see that, hilarious. I can't even see that Claire has commented that. That's very funny. Okay, I will write the 3-year-olds tomorrow. I know. They're actually quite nice. I don't know why I'm saying that. But no, I think it is definitely, it's nearly a state of mind. Like, I have to have that little bit of clarity and that bit of vision. But I do find it funny that if somebody else was having this conversation, we'd be like, wish, like, you're with your horse.
Mar, isn't that always the way? Like, you should talk to yourself like you talk to your best friend. And myself and Nick, actually, it was so funny. She sent me a reel the other day, and it was like, one week I have a wobble, and like your best friend is there, like the nerves and keep you on level ground, and then the following week, then you swap roles. And like, that is exactly like what we are. Do you know what I mean? And like, she could be having a bad week, and she could be all and I'll be the level ground, and then the following week, then it's me. I'm down in the dumps and I'm busy and I'm doing this, and she's saying, take a chill, do that, like, you know, helping me through it. So
but isn't it lovely that you have each other for that balance? That you create that relationship.
That we're so alike in some ways and then so different in others. and we
But that's
in that
important.
create the perfect balance. It's mad
Yeah.
when you think about it. Like, do you know what I mean? It is mad. But yeah, getting back to it, I think, look, no matter what, like an equestrian is what you feel on the inside 100%. Now, as I said, I am guilty of letting what an outside perspective looks like question my mind. But it's only for a fleeting minute, because then I'm like, no. I know my horses. I'm here. I feel the connection all the time. So yeah. Go back to what
Well,
your
you know
heart
what? You said right. Exactly. Tell you, go with what your heart feels and what your gut tells you, and we'll all be right. Be grand.
Endurance Ireland are in saying equestrian is not only riding but advising and helping. That's so true, and I think that's part of the that's part of what, as I said, with the isolation, when you're not actively helping or chatting to other people, sometimes you feel so isolated that you're kind of out of the loop and you're not feeling like you're in the industry.
But even within saying that, like obviously I had the privilege of being up at the Endurance Ireland Championships in Stradbally at the weekend, and I wasn't riding. And we got presented an amazing check that's going to go towards fantastic things that we will be discussing in the future. But even just to be there, the smile on people's faces, and God, Sarah, there was a little fella that came up. He must have been, I don't know, is he 7 or 8? And like himself, he does all of I was going to say the charity, right? Sorry, Yvonne. All of the endurance rides. His dad leads himself and the pony for all of them. But you should have seen him. Like when his name was called out, he beamed, he ran up. It was just magical. It was absolutely unreal. I have to say,
like it's been brought together by the horses.
100%. Like there was every type, every make, but isn't, and sometimes like we all kind of focus on the pillars, like we do our dressage, our show jumping, our cross country, our eventing, but the likes of those endurance rides, like there was every type of horse, there was every type of age group, there was every type of background, and everybody was there together. It was deadly. Like it was so cool. Like I brought Porrick and Fionn with me. Now, first of all, I thought it was hilarious because more people recognise Fionn than recognise me, which is fine. I'm going to take that because he's a pretty cool kid and he has a deadly mullet. Yeah. But it was like we were on the way home and Porrick was going, Jesus, Mar, there is kind of something for everybody in endurance riding, isn't there? Yeah, there actually is.
Very, very inclusive. It's a lovely discipline to be part of. But yeah, it's interesting and funny. Chrissy's back in saying, she was like, yeah, in my case, this is in response to like it's not only riding. She said, in my case, it's being a carrot delivery person. I can kind of really relate to that. Every time the horses see me now, they're like, every time I step out my back door, oh god. Yeah, I'm laughing. The next topic more that I wanted to talk about, and again, this is something that randomly popped into my mind, and I don't know exactly what it was that brought it in, but it was, what are the lessons or the key things that you remember your parents teaching you when you were a kid? So, all right, I'll give you a couple of examples, and they're quite different because, like, I mean, yeah, they're quite different. But one of them was, I remember the day that I learned, and I can't remember what age I was, but I remember the day that I learned what it meant to put an animal to sleep. Now, bearing in mind, like a big animal lover, like was, you know, traumatized if anybody or hurt an animal on TV or anything like that, and you know, commas, no animals or harmed in the making of this movie, etc., etc. But it was, I was in the car with my mom and Davey, and they were talking about something, and they were talking about a dog, I think it was, and the next thing Mum said, oh, they probably, I think it was something to do with the pound. Davey says, what do they do if they don't get a home? And Mum says, oh, I think they put them to sleep. And I piped up and I said, do they put them to sleep until they find a home and then wake them back up again? And I remember as clear as day, I was like, that makes so much sense. Like, I mean, you know. And Mom said, yeah. And then after that, so I was placated. I was very happy. And then after about a minute, she was like, no, Sarah, I can't lie to you. That's not what happened. They're put to sleep and they don't wake back up again. And obviously, like, I was devastated, but at the same time, I remembered it. I remember it obviously being a hard topic for my mom to discuss and
fair
go
play
back
to your
on,
mom. Yeah.
with me too, or truthful with me, but it was important. You know what I mean? And I could see her struggle with it, but it was still an important lesson for me to get my head around. And I was
Yeah.
asking questions, so give the answers. So that was one, was like, even when it's a difficult conversation to have, if they're asking the questions, kind of give the answers. And then the next one was, now anyone that knows me will know that I can't lie to save my life, right? Even now, I'm like, my mouth goes dry, I'm like breaking out into a sweat, and like, I'm talking like innocent stuff, like, the way, well, we used to do this thing in our house where when you'd walk in, everyone would pretend to be asleep. Could never do it. I'd just laugh. Could never do it. I'm like, no, I can't. It's not happening. Like, I just couldn't. I couldn't keep it. Prank phone calls. No, could never do it. Couldn't even do like knickknacks when we were younger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in the store, I was like, here, handcuff me, take me away.
I believe all of this. I could not doubt any.
Like, I'm like, don't have me outside the bank waiting to drive you away. I'll be like, no. I'm not your person for that. But I remember my dad saying to me that don't ever, because there'll come a time when you'll need us to believe you. And that stuck with me. And it stuck with me for one particular reason, because Davey got into a bit of trouble one night, and it wasn't him, he wasn't at fault. But when Dad saw him, Davey just said, I didn't do it, Dad. And Dad said, it's fine, no worries. And there was like nothing more of it. Dad had his back. Yeah. Davey was telling the truth. Nothing more came of it. It was fine. But that just was a prime example of when Davey needed Dad to believe him, and Dad, without a hesitation, believed him. And I was like, I'm never going to lie in my whole entire life. Oh gosh. And then there was another one where my dad used, and then kind of along the same lines, that Dad used to say, like, if you're going out with your friends, especially like young teenage years, and you're having a drink, like, let us know, because if anything happens that you get into trouble, then you can pick up the phone and ring us. We'll be able to, you won't have to worry about picking up the phone. And those things just kind of like stick with me. And I obviously, like, being a parent, you're kind of, your mind runs away with you and you're thinking of different scenarios, like, but I'm like, oh my God, those are just things that kind of resonated with me. Do you have anything similar that you can kind of recall, like, at the drop of a hat?
So I was trying to think about this when you were talking there, and it's funny what sticks in your head, isn't it? Like, and what stands out. So I was a rebel teenager. I was the stereotypical, I'll go do it all on my own, Miss Independent, thought she knew the world and actually knew nothing at all. But I used to get really frustrated if things didn't go my way, and I wasn't very good at articulating what was going on or what was happening, especially with Mum and Dad. Like, I just couldn't. With my friends, yes, because I could just spurt, but not so much with Mum and Dad. So Dad used to say to me, and I don't think it's actually one particular incident, but it was a phrase he used to use all the time. And he used to say to me, what's for you won't pass you. Mm-hmm. And I had been going out with somebody for years and years. Kind of carry on. And Dad sat in the sitting room and he burst out laughing. I was like, Dad, that's really mean. Like,
will you go back and you glitched out there for a minute? I think you did anyway. You did for me.
Oh, sugar.
You were sat in the sitting room and like eating the punchline. Dad
burst out laughing. I thought Dad was being really mean and harsh. I was like, this is my life ruined over forevermore. And he just said to me, what's for you won't pass you. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, I'm okay now. That's all right. This obviously wasn't supposed to be. This is A-okay. This is all right. And the other thing that Mum and Dad always said, and still say to this day, and I love the mentality of it, and I love the thought process of it, and it's Mum kind of, Dad will get Mum will chime in behind now, in fairness, but Dad will always say he doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. So it didn't make a huge amount of difference to mom and dad. Like I started off doing one thing, went to another thing, went to an absolute another thing, went to another thing. But they never ever hindered what we all wanted to do, as in myself and my brothers and sisters, because in dad's head, like dad didn't have a very long formal education. He's probably one of the most intelligent people I know. Mom is unbelievable. She's the backbone of the business. And like they made that together. And even now, like that is, as like people wonder where I get it from. Dad is as mad as a box of frogs. Like we have motorbikes, cars. He's in the middle of doing up a camper van. He's like a camper van now. A camper van that mom says she will never get into. So dad has spent, I'd say the guts of about 2 years doing up this camper van. And mom is slightly claustrophobic, so she's a little bit worried about being in it. But dad keeps going, she won't have it for a electric picnic. And couldn't Equitas bring that to the horse show now next year? And wouldn't that be very handy? I'm like, yes, Dad. You teach me how to drive this thing. I love it. Oh yeah, like I love the thought process behind it all. I love that there is always something new, and there's always something to learn, and there's always something that can be created or something that can be changed. Now, Dad has he has a very unusual sense of humor, right?
Right.
So the window to the bathroom of this caravan has what looks like, it has my brother obviously makes the stickers. It has what looks like there is a man pooing on the window on the outside. It's like that.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of sense. So if somebody wants to break me, they know if they're going in the window, where they're going to end up.
Oh, they're going to end up there. Like. But I love that mentality. I love that they've instilled that in all of us to a certain extent, that we don't have to be set, that things can always change and we can always evolve and we can always grow. And it's something that I would love to, like, even when Fionn was little, like he tried every sport and everything. He gave Irish dancing a go there for a while. He gave, I would never, if he came home and asked to be involved in something or wanted to try something, I would never, I'd hate to think that I would have to say no, or that I would dampen the enthusiasm. Isn't it? Work away, and if it doesn't work out, that's grand. We'll figure something else out and we'll try something else, and that's fine. But it's the mentality of it all that I just think that it's a lovely thing to have instilled in us from such a young age.
I love that. Do we want to check out the question and pick a winner for this so that we have time to actually answer? I'm just conscious of the time, and I'm assuming that we're going to get cut off at the typical hour.
I assume so. So the question, now there was some amazing questions that did come in. And I think there is some questions here that we can put on the list that we can answer along the way in different podcasts anyway, because there was fantastic ones. But it's one that's quite relevant at the moment and one that you are working away on in the background and doing extensive work on. So AA Horsemanship came in and asked, how do you handle the mom guilt that comes up when you're riding or you're with your horse rather than spending time with your child?
I did see that. And not to be quite kind of blunt about it, because I only get to the horses when everything is sorted at home, like they're literally at the moment, like me riding is the bottom of the priority list. By the time I get there, I have no guilt. Because I'm like, literally, there's nothing more I can do at home. But that's the current setup. Like, I am not prioritizing my time in the saddle right now. And so that's why when my time is in the saddle, it's guilt-free. Now, at the moment, spending time with the horses, a lot of it is done with the girls right now. So again, I'm enjoying what that brings. Like, it's challenging for sure, but I am enjoying what that brings. And it's definitely one that it depends on what phase you're in. It's going to fluctuate. So right now, like, mom guilt is at a minimum because I'm not prioritizing time in the saddle at all. And with the girls are with me, but that's not always the way it's going to be. So I'll address it again.
It's a very tricky humor. I was very lucky because we had the horses here at home. I could kind of have a little bit of both. So we had Park's parents, they were kind of like, they were around, they could bring Fiona out while I was riding. It was when I went back competing that the guilt really kicked in, because I was either bringing him with me and knowing that he didn't want to be there and getting bored and getting antsy and not really wanting to partake in it, or I was leaving for hours and knowing that he was at home. But I think I came about this in a really selfish way, but it was a way that worked for me, and it was a way that we made work and we prioritized. I spent every hour God sent. Like I gave up my job to stay home to be with Fiona when he was 8 months old, and spent all day every day. And for the sake of my mental health and for the sake of his sanity, I was better off riding the horse than I was not riding the horse. So I kind of compartmentalized it in my head to make me a better mommy and to make me a nicer person in general. I was better off to take that hour and go and ride the horse and concentrate on riding the horse. Now, it wasn't an hour every day, admittedly. Sometimes it was an hour a week. Sometimes it was half an hour in a week. It was whenever I could manage it, really. Whenever. Yeah, but I was a better person for doing that.
That is not selfish, Mar. Like, I mean, for an equestrian, that's like just even going for a walk for somebody to get headspace. You know what I mean? Like, nobody thinks that anyone is selfish going for a walk. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
no.
So no, absolutely not. Or even like going for a bath. Like anything that kind of in any way, shape, or form brings in your self-prioritization is 100% not selfish. It's actually like it's self-sustaining. And as you say, to actually be able to be there for and just to be like you're so much better was full to your kids. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not snapping at them, you're not like impatient with them, you're not, you know, there but wishing you were somewhere else. Like you're really, really present. Like it's just I think we need to just kind of be mindful of it and practice a little bit more. But I am, like at the moment, like and in line to what you just said, I think I'm quite lucky. The girls are happy to be outside right now. If they weren't, that'd probably bring about a different response from me. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny one. It's like the first couple of shows were novelty and they were great. And to be fair, actually, any of the country shows, anywhere he could go and see a tractor or anywhere that he could even roll down hills or do any of that kind of thing. But when they were purely horses, he did get very bored. And it was something that we kind of had to sit down and, like, I suppose, as you said earlier on, we're at the stage now where I can sit down and have a conversation with Fiona and say, look, this week, this is what we have to do. But next week, we can do something that you want to do, or we can change and we can swap. And it's gotten to that stage where I'm lucky enough that we can have those conversations and he can say, right, okay, well, if you're going to make me come to this today, then next week we'd go to the cinema. And like, that's fine. That's what we'll do. And that's grand. But we have gotten over the hard bit of knowing, like I remember being at a show and I think it was one of the only ones Annabelle actually ever behaved at. And he was sitting in a buggy sobbing. Like I could hear him screaming in the middle of the ring, and I left. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And it was instinct. It just kicked in. I went, no, I just
you couldn't.
I just couldn't do it. Like, it was, I can't even remember what show we were at, to be honest. But like, it wasn't going to be earth shattering if we came out with a rosette, or we didn't. Like, it wasn't like we were in the middle of the Olympics now or anything. So I just bailed out. I just no, I can't do it. But I think everybody deals with it differently, and everybody has their own coping mechanisms, and it is important. Sometimes we need to be able to figure these things out in our heads.
But great question. I do think like there's so many different perspectives on it and so many different circumstances around it. Everyone's is going to be different, so it's different opinions and different perspectives on it. So I absolutely love it. I'll find out. I have a feeling that lady is called Ariana, and I have a feeling that she is in America. So that fedora is going to be going across the water.
Sarah, you're not keeping it. You're going to have to wait to get one for Christmas.
I know. I'm sure it's going to a great home. It'll make the parting much, much easier. But thank you to Beasley & Co. for sponsoring this week's podcast episode. And we have a couple more sponsors lined up, don't we, Mar? It's exciting to kind of
we do,
have people come on board and support the podcast, and we are forever grateful. So if it's something that you feel like you would like to do, drop us a DM or an email or whatever for one of us, and we'll pick it up and get chatting to you. But what next is I would you rather?
You look way too excited about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, how do I make these questions a little bit trickier? So right. Or would you rather for this week? So this is the fun segment because we need to just remind them to lighten up and have a bit of crack. Would you rather, equestrian edition, would you rather muck out stables all day or ride in the rain for an hour?
Ride in the rain for an hour.
I'd actually do both. Do you know that?
Yeah, I don't. Neither of those bother me.
And riding in the rain, I'm absolutely fine with. I'm absolutely grand. Yeah, it's mad.
We're riding all the time. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's. I was like, yeah, that's an interesting one. Okay, this is one that you might be able to relate to a little bit more than I will. But would you rather lose your stirrup jumping a course of fences or your reins on the gallops?
Oh, my reins on the gallops. There's always an X strap. We always have an outlaw shit strap hanging around there somewhere. We can figure it out as we go. If I lost my stirrups jumping,
lose the stirrups, but that's
You see, I panic if I lost my stirrup jumping. I panic. Whereas
if I'd fall off. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah,
I'd fall off at a slower speed than on the gallops. That was my logic. There's no, I'm not staying on. I'm just saying.
Well, in one of the many racing yards I worked in over the years, do you know what your initiation was on your first day?
Oh no, what?
When you went up so there was a straight gallop and there was a round gallop. When you went up the straight gallop, one of the lads had passed you out and pull off the bridle as they were going past you. And you had to be able to stay on with no bridle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. I think I can't remember if I cried and then fell off or fell off and then cried.
I was just going to say, one of the two or both. Would you rather own a horse that's great at shows but stubborn at home, or perfect at home but anxious at competitions?
I love an out show off. I love a horse that's good at a show that can pull it out of the bag. I'll deal with at home.
That's stubborn at home. You want the daily hardship, but
I want the daily hardship, and I want to be able to show off when I go out. That's all I want. Who's your what?
Whereas I would probably go the opposite, only because my ego as a coach would be like, might be stubborn at home, but I reckon I could probably get to the bottom of it, and I'd like to think I was intelligent enough to fix it. Oh God. Okay, would you rather plait your horse on a daily basis or clean your tack every day?
Oh, clean my tack. I'm so plait.
I would plait every day.
I love the finished product, but I don't love plaiting. And the concentration's bad.
I love it. Yeah.
I love when it's done. I love the aesthetic of it, but I'm so slow at it.
Yeah. Would you rather a horse that's impossible to catch in the field or one that refuses to load into a trailer?
Give me catch in the field. Oh, catch in field all day long. I spent 2.5 hours loading Annabelle into a horse box in Stradbally as a 4-year-old. I got so upset, I cried and said to Bart, I'm going to leave her here. She's now going to live in Stradbally. I cannot cope. The anxiety of loading to go somewhere and not knowing if I was going to make it home. Now, touch wood, thankfully she's very good now. But give me a horse out in the field any day. Couldn't go back to that.
So here on the flip side of that, then again, I have a little Connemara pony, Mallow, right? And I use him for the lessons and stuff like that. He's a great horse. Highly, highly intelligent. Like, I don't know if I've ever come across a horse like him. Highly intelligent.
Love it.
But one of the days I used to have them in a field about 5-10 minutes from the house, and I'd go over and I pick them up for the lessons and I drive them home again. So I was kind of always doing it like that day. So I'd have a little bit of time pressure or whatever. But this particular day I went over to get him and he was having none of it. He started running away. He started doing bits and pieces. And I tried all the kind of the typical stuff. No, wasn't having any of it. Had buckets, had all of that sort of stuff. And then I had reversed the trailer into the gateway of the field, and I loaded up the other two because we had a little mini Shetland, so he used to stand at the front. So I always was able to get 3 in at the one time, because that meant that one wasn't being left behind or anything like that. Or I didn't have to do 2 runs. And those 2 went up, and I sat on the ramp defeated, probably even crying.
No.
I was defeated. And the next thing, he walks straight by me and loads himself.
Oh, I don't know if I'd offer to ride.
But you're not catching me. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, what am I going to do with him? Now, this particular horse, now when you go out to catch him, you have to use a bucket.
Yeah.
If the bucket isn't going to do, he has to see the bucket, right? So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, he now knows that when it's me that goes out to catch him, I'm not going to give up. I'm just as stubborn as he is.
Yeah.
So you will see us walking around the field with me ever so slightly behind him. It could be 15 minutes. It could be an hour. But he knows I am staying there. And I don't run him. I don't. He tries to go in and out of the other horses and use them to try and get a bit of excitement. I just keep following him. I just keep annoying him. And then all of a sudden then he'll just stop and stand. And when he stops and stands, no matter what else happens, you can get the head cut on him. He doesn't, he's not one of these at the last minute will dart off. He's never done that to me in his life. Once he decides, okay, you can catch me, he'll stand there like a brick. He is. I never know which one I'm going to get when I go out, but he's just, I love the character of him. He's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, sorry, we digress. Keep going, only a couple left. Would you rather a horse that always spooks at shadows or trips over every small bump?
Oh, spooks the shadows all day long.
Even though those spooks happen so quick that they put your hair crossways, I'd still take them.
They do. Would
as
I said last week, how many times do I say, if you don't let your legs fall over, with lots of turbo? No.
All right, and the last one is, would you rather have a horse with perfect ground manners but difficult to ride, or easy to ride but challenging to handle on the ground?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Oh golly.
I think I would probably have to go with easy on the ground so that I could allow somebody else to handle them. You can kind of
but do you think if they were I want to caveat all of these. Like if they're a little bit tricky on the ground but they're easy to ride, do you think we'd be able to teach them that it's safe and secure on the ground? That you could get them to that point?
I just feel like the majority of the injuries that I've ever gotten from horses is not from riding them or falling off. It's from handling.
It's all been on the ground, yeah.
It's been.
That's a very valid point.
I've got bites. I've got all of those stuff. Any injuries like a broken finger was a horse rearing. You know what I mean? Like it was anything like that. Any injury that I've had, touch wood, has been from the ground. So I think,
actually, out of curiosity,
put
up your hand there. Just put up your hand normally, like a straight hand.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I was in a shop today.
That's not the finger that I broke. The finger that I broke was over here. And if you notice, if you notice that this one is the one that I broke. So my ring finger is the one that I broke at the very top. But you'll notice that it follows my middle finger. It doesn't
Did you
follow.
strap them together?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I strapped it to the wrong one in inverted commas because I still wanted to ride. It was the top of
Oh, yeah.
my finger. So I strapped it to my middle finger and I carried on. So and
I
now
was in a shop today.
Now it shadows to the one. So yeah.
Somebody said to me, "You're obviously horsey," and I said, "Why?" And they said, "Look at your hands. My hands automatically do this. They don't go back in. Like I have to push them back in because they automatically do this now." Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny. But yeah, that'd be. What would your final one be there? Where would you have it that?
I think no. I think I would rather have one that's easy on the ground. I think, like, for safety and especially here at home, like Eileen walks the horses every day. I don't think I could go up with one that I would be afraid that something would happen with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, shall we finish up with our rights and wrongs of the week? You go first.
My ride of the week, baked camembert cheese in Aldi.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's one of my favorite things ever.
If you haven't, Sarah, get yourself into Aldi this weekend. Get yourself a little cheeky bottle of wine and get baked camembert cheese. Oh my goodness. Little 7 nice crackers, maybe a little cheeky chutney on the side.
Oh my God, you're going all out.
Right. Oh, a long weekend. But yes, that is my ride of the week. It's beautiful. I think it's only like €4 or €5. It is gorgeous. My wrong of the week is I've had the same set of Hunter Wellies for about the last 10 odd years. They have gotten a hole. I now have to buy new wellies. I am not looking forward to the thought of buying new wellies because I have extra wide calves and tiny feet. So wellies either fit me in the feet or fit me in the leg. Find it really hard to get both. Also, extortionate prices for wellies. Oh my word. I don't want fancy wellies. I just want normal wellies that keep my feet dry and warm. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's my wrong week. I have to go and buy new wellies.
How often you use them? And if you break it down,
exactly. That's what Mom said to me. She was like, invest in a good pair of wellies. You're going to have them, for the next 10 years. And she's right. To be fair, she is right. It's just the thoughts of it. I just want a pair of normal wellies. That's all I want.
I know. Isn't it crazy? My ride of the week is, what is my ride of the week? So it's kind of a half ride and a half wrong because I finally got started because we're mid-season with clothes, it's now I have to change up the wardrobes, as in the girls now need kind of more winter gear. I need to check we have jackets, blah, blah, blah. And it means then that I have a great stash of stuff, so thankfully I don't think I need to buy anything. So that's a ride of the week. But the wrong of the week is I'm still sorting it out. I must actually put up a screenshot of what I was, because I do now. In fairness, it looks like organized chaos, but it's just I'm sitting there folding little clothes, and it's stuff that Brie has grown out of, like little onesies and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But it's just it's a long. That has been both my ride of the week, and that as the stash and the system is working. But the wrong of the week is I probably left it too long to keep on top of it, and now it's just kind of getting ahead of me. Now I got a bit of a head start on it, but it's looming over me. I'm hopefully next week my ride of the week will be that it's done.
That is done. Do you use the Hoover bags? Or what way do you store them?
I do for some of them. I don't find that they last very long. I have a whole system. So these kind of like shoe bags. I'm going to say shoe boxes. Carton where you have the zip on the top of it. So, and I compartmentalize them. So I have all the clothes not separated by age. I have them separated by the type of clothes that they are. So it makes it easier when I'm reading it, when I'm looking for something specific. Yeah. So it definitely is a good system that I have. I do like it. So that's a good, and I have it. I have enough clothes. And
Does it come from rugs, Sarah?
Yeah.
Does it come from winter rugs, summer rugs, light rugs? That's what that makes me think of.
The rugs sorted. Yeah, I picked them up from Sean McEntee's the other day. About 2 weeks ago. No,
I was late. I love that.
But I was late picking them up, and I got them. They're sorted.
There was somebody had a really cool.
I'm conscious of
yes.
time. I think I got cut off in a literally 10 seconds. So we will wrap
Well,
up.
thank you again to Beasley & Co. And thank you, Sarah, for the chat, as always.
Thank you to Beasley & Co. for your kind donation and prize to give out. And I will double check the address, obviously, but I do think it's going to cross the water if my memory serves me correctly. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and joining us. And as always, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Mar.
No bother. Thanks a million. I'll see you on Tuesday.
See you Tuesday.